Now, we've been meeting in Forest Town Hall for the past few months, and although we would love to meet with you there, we appreciate that for some that's just not possible. So, welcome to my kitchen, the challenges of finding a quiet space in a busy house. Back in 1988, I went to see a film with some friends from university called The Serpent and the Rainbow. I do not recommend that you look it up. The special effects will be appalling. Now, it was a certificate 18 then, which probably means it would be a certificate 12 now. And it was all about voodoo and zombies and drugs. And by the time the film had finished, I was overwhelmed with so much doom and fear and badness. And I remember coming straight out of the cinema and calling my family to check that they were all right, because I was convinced that something awful must have happened to them for me to be feeling so terrified. Of course, they were all fine, and I've only watched 3 Certificate 18 films since, one of them being The Passion of the Christ. About 5 years after that film, I was on a fuels course in Hereford. So much fun wading around in diesel. But over the course of one of the evenings and into the night, I felt so attacked. Like, if I went to sleep, I might not ever wake up again. Now, I didn't become a Christian until about 18 months later and 8,000 miles further south in the Falklands. But that night, when I was feeling so overwhelmed, the words of a song came to me. And I wrote them down, and I sort of turned it into a poem, a prayer, and I said them over and over all night long. Now, if you know me at all, you'll know how much I love my sleep. But that night, I knew that I needed to stay awake, and I needed someone bigger, stronger, more powerful than me to help me. Now, the song that had come into my head was Spanish Train by Krista Burr. I mean, honestly. But if you don't know this song, if you're not familiar with it, it's one of those fabulous country and western story songs. And it's about the devil and God playing cards for the souls of the dead, and the devil keeps cheating. But the refrain throughout the song is, "Oh Lord, don't let him win." Now, I'd been to Sunday school growing up, and I'd been taught the Lord's Prayer at school. But that song plays as if the devil might win. But if you're familiar with your Bible, if you've been taught well in church, then you'll know that the devil was defeated by the work of Jesus and his sacrifice on the cross. The war has been won, but there are still battles being fought. So what was it that was messing with me when I was watching that film? And what was it that helped me on that sleepless night in Hereford? Author and member of the leadership team at Soul Survivor Watford, Jeannie Morgan, wrote, "As human beings, we're fascinated by the world of the supernatural. Have you ever noticed how many books, films, and TV programmes have roots in it? Even as tiny children, we're exposed to the concept that there's a power at work outside ourselves. From an early age, we've all been encouraged to accept that the supernatural is something make-believe." But in 2016, a survey showed that British people believe in ghosts more than God. Most of us have some kind of belief system when it comes to the supernatural, which can lead to curiosity, cynicism, or maybe fear. And somewhere along the line, throughout the centuries, the church has lost its place as the authority and the source to be able to answer those questions that the supernatural poses. Now, there are so many shows obsessed with wizards and vampires and ghosts, but we're encouraged to view them as make-believe, as good entertainment. Now, I'm so glad that you have chosen to join with us today. As a church, we want to be a community that anyone can feel comfortable being part of, and we want to remove any barriers or obstacles that might get in the way of you finding out more about Jesus and being free to follow him. But wherever you are in terms of your relationship with Jesus, whether you're curious or you just happen to stumble upon this, wherever you are in your faith journey, people normally come to or stick with church because they're looking for something more than they can find within themselves. So I wonder if there's something within you that feels unfulfilled, a hole deep inside, a sense of purpose that feels just out of reach. Are you dissatisfied with how things are? And are you looking or searching or hoping to find something more? But here you are, and perhaps there's a tension within you because when you look around at people in church or people who you know go to church and you think, well, their lives just don't look that different from mine. So is the church the best place to find what you're looking for? Well, here are some reasons that people give for coming to church. It offers good advice on how to live. There's a great sense of community. It teaches children good values. The music is really good. And all of those are really valid, and they are things that Jesus offered to those around him. They speak to the longings of the human heart. And we really hope that here at Turning Point Church we provide those things and that we will continue to place a high value on them. But if these things are what define your faith, or they're the driving force for your belief, then eventually faith will become just one option. Because there are other places, other books, other online content that offer advice on family, money, marriage, sex, work, friends, morality. There are sports teams, clubs, jobs, organisations and groups that offer great fellowship and a sense of community. There's Spotify and Apple Music and all sorts of places to access amazing music. So Christianity is a brilliant place to find those things, but it's not the only place. So if you're thinking, why am I here, either physically or metaphorically, then I would really love to invite and encourage you to consider that there really is more to the Christian faith than what we've mentioned so far. The Christian faith offers a lot of amazing things and important things, but so do other places. And that's okay, because sound advice, a great sense of community and kicking music isn't what the church was meant to be known for. When we're looking at the significant moments and events when God interacted with human beings, they all contain not just good things, but power. In fact, Jesus said that what would define and lead and distinguish and be the driving force for his people, for his followers, wasn't an idea, but a person, not practices, but a power. And Jesus taught his followers, brilliant life lessons. They sang together amazing songs, and in community they shared miraculous experiences together. And Jesus tried to explain to his followers that a time would come when he'd be arrested, he'd be executed, he would die, but then he would rise again on the third day, and he wanted to prepare and encourage and guide his followers through what was about to happen to him. Now, we have a different perspective and the benefits of 2,000 years of contemplation and study, but if we had been there with Jesus, can we really say that we would react any differently to his disciples? Because the disciples were just sad. And that makes sense, because if somebody that you love and trust and respect tells you that they're going to die, it would be shocking and it would be heartbreaking, but it would be believable. If that same person told you that they were going to undie, where would that leave you? Confused, concerned, but it's unlikely to rock your absolute certainty in the finality of death. And this is what Jesus said to his followers. But now I'm going away to the one who sent me, and not one of you is asking where I'm going. Instead, you grieve because of what I've told you. Now that makes sense, because like us, Jesus' followers knew what death meant, and it caused them to be sad. They didn't know what after death or death undone meant. They'd seen Jesus raise Lazarus from the dead, but Jesus was talking about something else here. Lazarus would die again one day, But Jesus was talking about something so unique, so incredible. He said, "But in fact, it is best for you that I go away, because if I don't, the advocate won't come. If I do go away, then I will send him to you." So not only was Jesus going to die and rise again, but he was going to go away. And he said that that was best for his friends. Was going away a euphemism for dying, like passing away? Why did he have to go and be swapped out by this advocate? That sounds legalistic. They'd only been with Jesus for 3 years, and whether he died or was raised or went away, he wasn't going to be with them, and he was sending some barrister instead. Bad swap. But the advocate was a name that Jesus used for the Holy Spirit. Now, the Holy Spirit is God's Spirit, God's personal presence among us. And it can be a bit confusing because sometimes God's presence is called the Holy Spirit, like it's a thing rather than a person. So a more accurate way of thinking about the Holy Spirit is as a he. He, as in a person of God, similar to the way that we would refer to Jesus. The Holy Spirit is not an it. The Holy Spirit is on the first page of the Bible when the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of this dark chaos, ready to bring beauty and order. And the Holy Spirit is on the last page of the Bible when the Spirit and the bride, that's the church, call on Jesus to come and fulfill all his promises and to make everything new. And the problem maybe is that the church, with a small c, doesn't teach or talk enough about the Holy Spirit. When writing about the Holy Spirit, in the Hebrew of the Old Testament, the writers used the word ruach, which isn't very COVID friendly because if you're not spitting, you're not saying it properly. I'm probably not saying it right. But ruach means spirit or breath or wind. And in the Greek of the New Testament, the word pneuma is meaning breath or wind or soul. In the same way that we can't see the wind, we can't see our breath, but with the wind we can experience it. We can see the effects of the wind on the world around us, and that's the Holy Spirit. And if you think that sounds mysterious, then you're absolutely right. Now, this series is called Earth, Wind and Fire because it speaks to the power and the person of the Holy Spirit. We don't want him to be a forgotten part of the fullness of God. He was there at the creation of the earth. He's the breath of God and is as mysterious as the wind. And he came to the first believers as fire. The theology of the Holy Spirit is difficult. It's occupied brilliant minds over the years. And when you think about it, it's right and proper that we can't define, explain, quantify or analyse the Spirit, the Ruach, the pneuma of God. And then in the 17th century, the Bible interpreters unhelpfully translated the words Ruach and pneuma into ghost, Holy Ghost, which brought a whole other load of problems. Ruach and pneuma are so descriptive, if mysterious, but ghost, well, that just makes us think of scary movies and spooky stories. Jesus said to his followers, "It is best for you that I go away, because if I don't, the advocate won't come. If I do go away, then I will send him to you." Jesus was saying it was better for him to go away so that the advocate, the Holy Spirit, could come and be among and fill believers. Better than if Jesus himself were to stay with them. And the very power that was there at the creation of the world, the power that would raise Jesus from the dead, the power that would come on believers after Jesus had gone back to God, that was going to be better than Jesus staying with them. Now, if I'm 100% honest, I would find that really hard to believe, even though Jesus said it and obviously meant it, because if I had the choice of spending the next 3 years with the physical Jesus or with the Holy Spirit, well, which one would you choose? Probably Jesus. But Jesus said it would be better to have the Holy Spirit. And he continued, When He, the Holy Spirit, comes, He will convict the world of sin and of God's righteousness and of the coming judgment. In other words, the Holy Spirit will guide your path into walking in light and not in darkness. His presence will bring you back to God when you fall away. He will shed light on what's past and on the current uncertainty and on the things to come. And then Jesus gave his followers a glimpse of the beauty and the complexity of God in ways that we maybe see but can't completely understand, because there's nothing quite like the relationship between the Father, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. When the Spirit of truth comes, he will guide you into all truth. He will not speak on his own, but will tell you what he has heard. He will tell you about the future. He will bring me glory by telling you whatever he receives from me. All that belongs to the Father is mine. This is why I said, the Spirit will tell you whatever he receives from me. Now, if we can just pause and imagine what a perfect marriage would look like. Okay, so two people coming together in this ultimate, unwavering, unshakable, unbeatable bond of love, who share the same name, who share the same values, who willingly commit to one another in a way that is just a pale moon shadow of a glimpse into the relationship between God, the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. The Father, the Son, and the Spirit are in perfect community. So if the Holy Spirit is with each believer, we also have access to that perfect community, to the highest wisdom, to the deepest love, to the most joyous peace. The Holy Spirit, like Jesus and God the Father, has many names. He is multifaceted and not easily described. But here are some of the words that have been used about him in the Bible. He offers freedom to the things that enslave you. He offers hope in the light of disappointment. He offers renewal within you. He's an advocate who will never leave you, a teacher to remind you, a messenger of God's love for you. He's the gift giver, and he is the gift given by God to those who ask. He's the power that extends beyond you and the light to your path to guide you. The question is not, is the supernatural real or fake? The question is, do we truly know the Holy Spirit? Do we know that he is offered to be a light in the darkness? That the Holy Spirit is the power who can greatly exceed everything that we could ever ask for or imagine. Fear, curiosity, cynicism can all be distorted when we don't properly understand the power and the person who is foundational to our faith. And if you're hoping that faith will provide you with more than community, security, knowledge, comfort and great music, it can and it will, but only through the Holy Spirit. What Jesus offers is a partnership containing a power that changes the world. A power that, when fully embraced, brings all those other things to their best and fullest potential. Now, we are going to lean into some of these truths about the Holy Spirit over the next few weeks, and we're going to consider how he has changed the hearts of people in God's story and in ours. I wonder, do you have a story of how the Holy Spirit has encouraged you to take a step of faith, to do something you wouldn't be able to do without his help? Has the Holy Spirit ever warned you or challenged you or guided you? Now, the Holy Spirit wasn't who was scaring me when I was watching that film, but the Holy Spirit was with me when I walked through that night of being terrified. He has guided and comforted me in so many ways ever since. Sometimes like a gentle breeze and sometimes like a mighty storm. In a faith-filled church, we should be able to give accounts, recent accounts as well as those milestone events of when the Holy Spirit has interacted with our hearts and our lives. So this week I would like to ask you to just take a moment each day to ask the Holy Spirit to reveal more of himself to you, to meet you where you are in your journey. Because the distinguishing factor of the Christian faith isn't necessarily the practice, it's the person, the power of the Holy Spirit.